Have you ever found your queen trapped deep in your opponent's territory? Well, in this video we're going to discuss the challenges and the ingenious tactics needed to extract the queen from your opponent's territory when it got stuck by perhaps some greedy desire to grab material. We're going to do it by analyzing 3 examples. Well, one of those is mine. It's a painful defeat. One of them is related to the Caro-Kann, to one of the videos I published about the Caro-Kann, 3 powerful tricks to crush the Caro-Kann. In case you haven't seen it, I highly recommend you do it. And the other one is a typical variation from the French. So without further ado, let's jump right into the ideas. Yeah, I'm playing as black, and my opponent grabbed the a7 pawn. Surprisingly, he captured bishop takes a7. Well, now after facing it on the board, I realized that he was trying to attack both my rooks with queen d4. But somehow I suspected that the queen on h8 wasn't going to be completely safe, so I decided to capture. Otherwise, against bishop takes a7, I could have simply played for compensation with knight c6, bishop e3, and knight f6. And I guess I have some compensation because of the open A file, the good development, and the central pawns. Yeah, this knight is going to be active, and well, I'm sure there are good chances for black. But at that moment, this is a rapid game played 24 years ago. Okay, so I decided to capture. Well, the initial moves of the game were e4, c5, c3, the Alapin variation, d5, e takes d5, queen takes d5, d4, and g6. Yeah, this is a pretty enterprising way to play, but of course it is risky. D takes e5, queen takes e5, bishop e3, queen c7, and here we are. My rooks got attacked, and I played knight c6, queen takes h8, and knight f6. So we reached the first position in which this queen is, well, sort of trapped, but there is no direct way to capture it. How can black capture this queen? This is an important question. Yeah, my opponent played knight f3, and yes, the thing is how to attack the queen. It was tough to come up with an answer for this. Well, I played bishop g4. That is not the best move. I'll show you an analysis of queen b6 later. But yeah, we need to answer how to attack the queen. Yeah, this is the first thing. Yeah, can you come up with a way to attack the queen? Well, actually in the game I managed to create the threats, but it wasn't too effective, as you will see. Well, after knight f3, bishop g4, knight bd2, rook a5. Yeah, the rook must be an active piece, but I'm not sure we are making too much out of it. So bishop e2, knight e5, inviting my opponents to capture. Then yeah, I guess this pin would have been really promising for black. Against knight e5, he simply decided to castle. And now finally I'm answering the question. g5. Yeah, the way to capture the queen, to attack the queen, is by playing knight g6. And this is what I'm threatening. So somehow I felt I was doing more or less well, but my opponent came up with a fantastic move. He simply played rook f e1. Yeah, now he's targeting my king, and this can be seen after knight g6. I didn't play knight g6, I played bishop takes f3. I think I'm acting out of desperation, but the thing is that knight g6 is losing. Can you tell me why? Well, white to move and win. Queen takes f6, and in case of g takes f6, double check bishop b5, forcing king d8, and rook e8. Well, a beautiful mate. It's just a shame that I was on the wrong side of the board. But okay, I didn't play it. I played bishop f3, he recaptured, and I had to capture again. Of course, I cannot play knight g6 because queen takes f6 is still there, and there is this beautiful checkmate still in the position. So I played knight f3, bishop f3, and rook f5. I was trying to complicate matters, but it's more or less obvious by now that white queen is safe. There is no way to attack it. Okay, another possible way to attack it in a normal situation is by playing g4 and rook g5 followed by rook g8. Yeah, this is another idea, but here white can simply capture on f6. So rook f5 was already necessary to defend the knight on f6, and black is lost. So the game continued with h3. He is just simply avoiding g4, e6, rook a d1, and king e7 to unpin the bishop, but still I'm threatening nothing. Bishop g4. Yeah, white is trying to get this diagonal clear in case of knight takes g4, and rook a5, rook e3. Well, let's capture on a2, rook d1. Yeah, now rook takes e6 is threatened as bishop takes e6, rook a6 defending, and after rook f3 I decided to resign. That was a game I played against international master Raul Ocampo back in the year 2000, Mexico City. Now against knight f3, the right move is queen b6. Yeah, putting pressure on b2 and threatening knight g4. Well, after b3, knight g4 is really annoying for white, as knight d4 is answered with e5 and f2 is collapsing. So knight b6, knight bd2, and now, well, queen takes b2, rook b1, queen takes c3, bishop b5, rook takes a2, castle, and knight e4. Good move, trading queens. And well, after the trade of queens, queen takes e3, knight takes e3, we are going to reach a balanced ending as black has 2 pawns for the exchange. And well, I think rook a1 and bishop e6, and the position is equal. So that was a way to counter Raul Ocampo's knight f3. On a previous video I mentioned this position. Yeah, here black has just played queen d5 defending f7 and attacking the knight. So white captures on b7, queen takes e5, bishop e2, and now the rook is falling and our queen is going to be stuck in the corner. So this is pretty interesting, and well, when I made the video on the Caro-Kann, I decided not to talk about it. I think I must do it now because extracting the queen from a8 can sometimes be a little bit tricky. Well, yeah, first of all, black needs to defend from rook queen c8, and well, the most popular move is e6. Yeah, and this is an aggressive one because the bishop is coming to c5. So here the move is a4. We should avoid capturing the rook, as after queen c7 the queen is trapped, and yeah, the bishop is coming to d6, and I'm not sure that we have a good position. Also, black is threatening knight fd7, knight b6. So a4 aims to bring the rook to the play, but it also aims to play a5, a6 in order to capture on e8 and extract the queen simply by playing queen b7. So this is a pretty strong move. Well, Now after bishop c5 looks aggressive, we can simply play c3, threatening d4. And well, this seems winning for white. Instead of this, black can also play bishop d6, but then we can sometime grab the other rook, queen c8, king e7, and queen takes h8. And we have good chances to extract the queen by playing c3 and d4. And well, the knight is pinned. This is something basic, and this knight is pinned as well. So this is easier. In the case of bishop g7, then we can play d4, and well, queen d6, queen takes a8, queen c7. Yeah, our queen now is trapped, but we're bringing the rook to the game, trying to play rook b3, knight fd7, threatening knight b6, a5, and yeah, stopping knight b6, castle, and rook b3. We're about to play queen b7 and save the queen, queen takes a5, bishop d2, and in case of queen a1, bishop d1. And we have a winning position as our queen is going to get out of that corner, and we're going to castle with extra material. Well, if you're liking the ideas I'm sharing, please remember to give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Okay, so facing e6 with a4, it's a remarkable concept. Yeah, we enable rook a3 and prepare a5 even before capturing, even before getting the queen down there stranded. Okay, another normal continuation is queen d6. Yeah, they're avoiding mate as queen c8 is answered with queen d8, and against queen d6 we can play bishop f3. Not advisable to grab the rook, as queen c7 again threatens knight d6, knight b6. It's much better to play bishop f3. Well, the idea is to meet bishop g7 with queen takes a8, and the queen is not just capturing the rook, but it also threatens this pawn, and we're ready to answer queen c7 with bishop takes c6, and that's it. Queen takes c6, queen takes b8, winning right away. Okay, so this is something I wanted to tell you. The variation seems too complicated for you and you don't like to have your queen there. There is an interesting option on move 9 against g6. Let me show you the initial moves. As I told you, this is on a previous video, but it's better that I'm showing to you right now. Knight f3, d5, knight c3, the two knights variation against the Caro-Kann, d takes e4, knight takes e4, bishop f5, knight g3, bishop g6, h4, h6, knight e5, bishop h7, queen h5, g6. And here, instead of queen f3, that is the line we were analyzing, knight f6, queen b3, instead of that, we can play bishop c4. Yeah, threatening mating 1. And against e6, yes, of course, g takes h5 is answered by bishop takes f7, checkmate. So instead of that, e6 is answered with queen e2. And this is really powerful as we're threatening knight takes f7 and queen takes e6. For instance, knight d7, queen, knight takes f7, king takes f7, and checkmate. Next move. And checkmate. Yeah, for that reason, after queen e2, I guess black has to play something like queen e7, and well, we have a nice game after b3, bishop b2, and we can play long castle, and we have very active pieces, but we don't win material right away. So that's why I prefer to suggest queen f3, but okay, for some of you it might be a little bit tough to have your queen there. You have to be pretty accurate, as otherwise your opponent may get a chance to create counterplay and turn the tables. Okay, and the last example is going to be a very interesting variation from the French defense, that leads to this position. Yeah, here's white to play. So, I mean, white is doing nice, is doing great. This knight is pretty strong, but black prepares to castle and to play knight a5, knight c4, creating a light square blockade. And sometimes if they are able to play g5, getting rid of this knight, so they are getting a good position. So in here, white's best move is knight takes e6. Yeah, after queen takes e6, queen takes g7, and here we have our theme. Well, castle. The other option is queen g6, trying to trap the queen right away after queen takes h8. And here, how to attack the queen? Well, with the rook at some moment, or with the knight on f7. So knight d8 is the most direct way to approach this situation. But white plays e6, and yeah, e5 is free for the queen. So instead of that, castle is the most normal. Queen takes h8, well, queen g6, defending g7, h7, and slowly preparing the trap for our queen. Yeah, rook e8, knight d8, and knight f7, or sometimes even rook f8, knight d8, knight e6, and the queen is there stuck forever. So after castle, rook e8 and h4. This is a way. This is pretty similar to the Caro-Kann. Now, the thing is that h5 enables bishop g5. So h4, knight d8, and e6. Yeah, the only way to extract our queen. And here, rook takes e6. In case of knight f6, h5, the queen is attacking here, and in case of knight h5, queen e5, queen e6, and queen h2. An annoying position, but yeah, white is materially winning. Okay, rook takes e6, h5, queen f7, bishop g5. This is a game of Lev Sahis against Kreis in 1997. And well, black is lost. Rook e8, bishop takes d8, rook d8, and queen e5, white distracted his queen, queen takes h5, rook e1, knight h6, queen f4, rook d7, rook e6, and black decided to resign as there is no counterplay against white's fantastic domination. So this is a pretty entertaining idea, and well, a practical one because it happens in plenty of openings. So if you know a variation in your repertoire, or any variation in which something like this happens, please, I'd love to hear from you. And well, I hope you enjoyed the video, and see you next time. Goodbye.